It took years for the rules of cinema to be established, so of course it was going to take an equally long time to throw them away. The 1960 Cannes Film Festival presented a medium at war with its own restrictions. Slowly, artists from all over the world would break rank and begin working in an unrecognizable new style. Some took their cameras off their tripods and took to the streets, experimenting with docurealism and impromptu, less traditional shot composition. In the process, they kissed the star system goodbye and made heroes out of non-professionals. Some began making their films more about mindsets and milieus than stories that followed traditional arcs.
L'âge d'or, c'est le seul moment où le merveilleux se présente sous son vrai nom.
Some let silence and action steer the film for audacious amounts of screen time. Some experimented with direct address, calling one's attention to the mechanics of filmmaking.
人間誰一人としてこの老衰していくということから免れることはできません。あなたもです。
Some told bold, taboo-smashing stories designed to confront and outrage audiences.
I've seen a lot of niggers. Might say some of them was my friend. But I have yet to see one as fresh as you.
But one film in particular broke a few too many rules for comfort.
Facciamo il bagno?
Michelangelo Antonioni's La Avventura tells the story of a group of idle, moneyed Italians whose plan for a pleasant afternoon aboard a yacht are ruined when one of them goes missing. Until her disappearance, Anna, played by Lea Masseria, has been presented as the film's lead character. Her absence leaves the film and the audience without an anchor or direction. It seems as though the search for Anna, conducted by her fiancé, played by Gabriele Ferzetti, and her best friend, played by Monica Vitti, will now be the focus of the film, but that too falls by the wayside in favor of examining their slow courtship. By the time the film ends, it's an open question as to what exactly it's about. And certainly critics have enjoyed examining its every secret and half-truth since it debuted, but at the time it caused an unimaginable uproar. At its first screening, the audience booed. Antonioni and Vitti fled in embarrassment, and it seemed to be a failure. A second screening resuscitated its reputation. A petition circulated on its behalf, signed by 35 sympathetic directors, producers, and critics, and it was awarded the Prix de Jury, or, more prosaically, second place. But the battle was not easily won. During this shot in particular, audience members reputedly yelled "cut" because they thought that it went on too long. Imagine, if you can, audiences today rioting over the length of a shot. That ought to provide a window into what made La Avventura stand apart from the films that preceded it. Everything about it defied convention. Other films, like Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita, which took home the festival's top prize, the Palme d'Or, reflected a modernist condition, but it was guided by a chatty, charismatic hero in a world people recognized, that of celebrity culture.
Silvia, please, come back! I don't want to come back, no!
Ingmar Bergman's The Virgin Spring, which also received a citation, was about consequences, and thus, even at its most austere and troubling, made perfect narrative sense. Eric Loken's The Chasers attempted to investigate a crime by breaking the fourth wall as often as possible. Even as potentially alienating a device as that is, its effect is leavened somewhat by its constant attention to and recognition of the viewer. La Aventura strands the audience in a plot that changes direction at regular intervals with characters it doesn't fully know. Its apparent conceit vanishes several times, and no one ever explains their feelings or motivation. Not only is Anna's disappearance not resolved, it's forgotten entirely. The camera, meanwhile, stares at Vidi and Ferzetti in unconventional framing, staying with them for every second of silent contemplation of their own identities and of each other. It often flows through spaces and conversations like a spectral character, obeying no conventions of movement, axis, or space. Antonioni directed like few others ever had. In the end, it's tough to say whether La Aventura's enduring cultural importance is due to its winning the jury prize or because of the stir it caused. Looking at the complete list of winners, it becomes clear that the jury was only rewarding those who broke new ground. In addition to La Dolce Vita winning the Palme d'Or, 2 Russian films, Josef Kiefitz's The Lady with the Little Dog, and Grigory Chukrai's Ballad of a Soldier, were given the short-lived Prix de Meilleure Participation. These movies pushed cinematic grammar into new directions, to tell old stories, one about a forbidden affair, and the other about a soldier on leave, and make them feel new. But, as stunning and revelatory as they are, those films haven't had the lasting impact on modern theory that La Aventura did. No one could have known it, but the film's ambient scene construction and dogged refusal to explain itself represented the future of popular art cinema. Antonioni's unblinking objectivity in the face of the disillusion of narrative would predict major trends in filmmaking. But in competition with flamboyant works and recognizably popular style by the likes of Vincente Minnelli and Nicholas Ray, it must have been like looking into an empty crystal ball. When its first audience rejected it, they were reacting to a whole new way of storytelling. Who could blame them for not understanding? The art form's very foundations had been shaken. Even today, some are not convinced. But it seems that every month of the year, some experiment bearing its influence will hit theaters. To realize that is to come to terms with why the Cannes Film Festival's legacy is secure. This is where change starts. This is where artists wage war for progress. It all happens here.